SnoopyDupas. It is so nice to see you again. I missed you. It's been a minute, not too long. I put out a video the other day. You folks seemed to like it. So we will continue to do news every week if we can, or if something interesting or something that I haven't seen happens, I might pop in and give you like a little, oh my God, this is happening moment. But I think that you guys really like the whole, at least the analytics and your comments seem to indicate that you like the whole reading of the news and going over funny and silly news things. So we'll definitely do that. And I feel you. I see you. I hear you. You want me to drag other creators into my nightmare. And I will do that. I will force them at internet point to come in and watch things on YouTube. I will do that like a hostage situation, and I will do it for you. I will be begging them to come on and let me show them these things. And simultaneously, I want to give a shout out to other creators that I really like and that I support because they do good work, and we have to support people who do good work, right? So first and foremost, let's talk about the Karen Read case. You're also going to see I'm going to be putting out a series of shorts here soon because I've seen a lot of parallels between the Karen Read case and a specific show that I really like, and I just cannot help it. So I'm going to be a little silly. So we're definitely going to have some fun shorts coming out soon. But when you want actual Karen Read coverage and you want to see a really good interpretation of the data provided from a lawyer's perspective, I always recommend Melanie Little. I'm thinking, actually, I'm going to ask her if I can show her some of those crazy videos, like I said earlier, but I think this weekend or maybe in the coming week or two, I'm going to be on her channel to talk about some stuff. But definitely go look at her channel when it comes to the Karen Read case. If you're not watching the Karen Read case, what the fuck are you doing with your life? How do you pass the time in the morning? I can't stop. I cannot stop watching it, as indicated by the song that I'm about to provide you with. I recorded this the other day when I was working on some shorts, and I have nowhere to put it, and it's just fun. And here, watch. If you like white claws and fighting, and your last name is McCabe, if you like scheming with your family when you have a migraine, if you like crystal light at midnight and driving drunk in the snow. I'm sorry, I'm going to stop. Aren't I silly? Okay. Anyway, that's for you. That's for all of you watching that case. If you haven't seen it, tune into it. It's insane. And also, tune in tomorrow night or tonight. It's going to be in the next 2 days. I'm going to be on Crime Time with Duty Ron sometime in the next day or so. I think tomorrow night. We're going to discuss OSINT and ethical citizen sleuthing in general, as well as the case against Stephen Stearns for the murder of Madeline Soto, allegedly, and so much more. I don't want to spoil it, but please watch. It's going to be a very, very good discussion. And as always, all the discussions are when it comes to Dutiful Ronald and Sir Edward, my new Uncle Wallace. He doesn't know that, but he is. And he's a forensic genius, as is Dutiful Ronald. And I love them both. And I love going on and chatting with Dutiful Ronald, who is Duty Ron, by the way. And I'm going to link him below. I just like saying Dutiful Ronald because it sounds funny. Also, shout outs to Rock Chalk Jayhawk True Crime. Again, of course, she is still on the ass of every conniving son of a bitch in Oklahoma's panhandle. And she's a ferocious lady, and she's not afraid of your weapons. She's also my honorary auntie who smokes and is very into hand-to-hand combat. So I adore her and I support her on her quest to avenge the missing and murdered Kansas moms, Jillian Kelly and Veronica Butler. If you have not followed that case, 5 dickhead carnies, who I like to call Fleetwood Crack. It's very House of a Thousand Corpses. They have a cult, as you do when you live in Oklahoma. Not only do they have this cult, it is a cult full of the most insufferable type of people known to man. No, I'm not talking about Westboro Baptist Church members, and I'm not talking about Klansmen. I'm talking about the other worst kind of people. I'm talking about sovereign citizens. What is wrong with these people? Is it the lead from the paint in the 70s? What happened to them? Why do they think they can just behave like this? If you don't know about sovereign citizens, oh my God, they're the worst. They are the worst. They are somewhere in between people who are like really obsessed with punishing Karen Read. That side of Twitter is the worst. They're kind of in between that and a severe tooth abscess. They are the worst. I cannot stand sovereign citizenry. And maybe we'll watch some videos of that and laugh at it. Although, Natalie Lawyer Chick used to focus on that. Go watch her too. She's incredible. She likes to break down, or at least she used to. I don't know if she does anymore, but she used to react to Sovereign Citizen videos, and I loved watching it. But yeah, shout outs to Rock Chalk. She's not going to get a Sovereign Slytherin in her way. No. She's not going to let that shit happen. She is going to follow this through to the end. And send her onion soup. Send her Applebee's coupon. Can we start an Applebee's gift card fund for Rock Chalk to get her all the onion soup she wants in life? Because I love her. Ugh, God. And you know what? I just cannot believe it's been like 2 days since I've stalked her channel. I'm going to have to go watch. I can't believe I let it go that long. I'm so sorry, Rock Chalk. I've just been really busy. Okay. Now, if you want to follow me, by the way, I have a bunch of new handles. I think I shouted them out in the last video. I just started these so that I can lurk under this screen name and don't get confused. And also so you can have an alternate place to reach out to me if you're not one of those people who uses email, or if I've had some people say they don't want to send Gmail, like they don't support it. So like whatever, man. You can hit me up on X or Twitter. I don't like calling it X. It's Twitter. Elon, you dinkus. You can hit me up at Oblivious Benson. You can hit me up on TikTok, which I never post on. Maybe I'll start. I don't know. But I, again, started that to fight with some Florida conspiracy theorists. And simultaneously, you can hit me up on Reddit as Oblivious Benson. And you can always email me, always, at obliviousbenson@gmail.com. Whether you want to discuss a case, whether you want to show me something, as long as it's not your penis, just send me true crime stuff, court stuff, a crazy news story from your hometown. I'm always down. So yeah, that's pretty much... That's it. We're going to get into the video now because I've got a good one for you today. Although I do want to do a quick news update since our last video. Some shit has gone down. We have a missing twin update out of here in Austin, Texas that I told you about in my last video. Essentially, the situation is this, ladies and gents. We have a set of twins, Sarah and Elizabeth Spalding. They are globetrotters, to say the least. They've lived in Saudi Arabia. According to their socials, they've been in Malibu, California. They've been in Chicago. They have lived, in the north, in the south, everywhere, northeast, everywhere you can imagine. They've lived everywhere. They have a big Instagram following. They are lovely 30-something-year-old women. They're blonde. They're very tiny. They pretty much globetrot and spend a lot of time taking fancy Instagram pictures. They are both very learned, very well educated. They decided they're going to go for a night on the town here in Austin, Texas, down on 6th Street one night. After I posted that video, I did go downtown to do a show. As some of y'all know, I do stand-up comedy. And while I was down there, I started asking some of the door guys in the area if they'd seen them. And one door guy actually had. He said he saw them walk by him. That's all he had. It was useless. But regardless, it never hurts to ask. So these twins go out for a night on the town on 6th Street. They end up somehow at the hospital after that at about 3 to 4 in the morning. They're at the hospital at St. David's, which is 3 miles away. They get discharged at the same time around 4 a.m. in the morning, between 4 and 5 a.m. And then all of a sudden, Sarah is at home and realizes she doesn't know where her sister is, nor does she remember or recall them getting separated, according to the news. Literally none of the sources that I could find gave any information on how that situation came to be. And so obviously, naturally, the first thing I thought was perhaps one of them was drugged or both of them. So anyway, Sarah ends up at home. She cannot remember how they got separated, but somewhere between the prior AM situation of being discharged from the hospital, we don't know if they were discharged separate or together, but we know it was at the same time. Somewhere between then and home in Austin or wherever they were staying, they're separated. Sarah can't remember where Elizabeth went. The family reports her as missing. APD reports this as a attempt to locate, which is actually kind of tricky. That means something different than missing, but we'll go over that in a second. So they do an attempt to locate, and it's the next morning, and they can't find her anywhere. And there's no recollection from Sarah how they came to be separated. All they know is they were at St. David, and then before that they were on 6th Street. So with that said, let me tell you something else weird. As you can see on the screen, it says 2024 missing Elizabeth Spalding. That's her. And then to the left, it says 2012. Now, what the fuck, right? So it turns out, and this was over that 2-week period, almost 2 weeks that she was gone. It was 10 to 12 days. The web sleuths, the OSINT specialists, people start going at it. All the true crime groups are starting to get into this. And somebody pointed out that, hey, these young ladies have had this exact same thing happen before almost, but in Chicago. Apparently they got separated. Elizabeth went missing. It got put out all over the news. And then a few days later, she shows back up. No real explanation why or how that happened. But in this case, they were visiting Chicago from Saudi Arabia. Now, I couldn't find any trace of them living here in Austin, but apparently there are some Instagram photos of them. I saw some where they are tagged here in Austin. Apparently they've been spending time here. So maybe they recently moved here. But what's interesting is now there is an update. So it's just odd that 12 years later, the same thing happens. It made me really worry that people weren't going to take it seriously and think it was a repeat. Not sure if that is the case, that it's a repeat, but it seems it could be because according to the APD, Austin Police Department, they received a request to locate a case related to Elizabeth Spalding. Miss Spalding is an adult and her family is concerned for her welfare, which is why she is listed as a request to locate in the APD system. Miss Spalding has the ability to reach out if she requires police assistance, and during the time she has been listed in the APD system. So she was listed in the APD system the next day, by the way. So since then, which would be May 5th, she apparently has spoken to several different individuals in the community. At this time, there's no indication that she is being held against her will in any way. Now, she is an adult. She's allowed to go missing, but in this instance, the request to locate is from her family. So, whether it's a mental health struggle she's going through or whether she's just ghosting them for some reason, we don't know. But we do know that she has spoken to several different individuals in the community. And this location request seems to now be, I wouldn't say a private matter because they put this out publicly, but it seems to be a request made on behalf of her family. So Sarah and Elizabeth, while they are not reunited necessarily that we know of, we know that there's an update in that she is alive at least and she has spoken to people. So that's good. So I just wanted to let you guys know that in case you were worried. And with that said, let's get to our video. Okay, now onto the meat and potatoes. We have talked about the Wayback Machine a lot, aka the Internet Archive, on this channel before, and we'll talk about it more, I'm sure. Probably pretty regularly as we get deeper into analyzing cold cases for sure. Which is why before we go any further, I want to show you something that is pretty cool and insurmountably helpful when it comes to preserving the Internet Archive, which we all know and love and use and will continue to use abundantly by contributing to it. You may be thinking, you mean donating it monetarily? You want me to give them my money? Well, sure, you can do that, and you should if you have the means. But if you don't have the means and you do intend on using it a lot in the future, to surf back in time, if you will, and you do want to support it still by helping it grow, you can totally do that for free. And we love that word over here. Now, you may also wonder, how the hell is this thing up and functioning? Who maintains it? What if the data that I need is no longer available on it? How can I ensure that it will be? How do I know this data will be available later? What if robots rise up and listen, it's going to be fine. And you need to focus. Because although I can't answer all of your questions right now at this very moment, I can tell you that the Wayback Machine, aka the Internet Archive, is currently under assault by a recent lawsuit regarding publishing companies that are fighting the archive in its efforts to preserve content of certain materials. This is very bad and very scary for us, especially those of us who are especially Snoopy. So it's going through some shit right now, some drama. It's complicated between the archive and the publishers, and it can certainly use a loving shoulder to cry upon and vent to, or donations to fight this horseshit lawsuit. However, if your broke ass is as broke as my broke ass is, you still like using the resource, but you feel bad and you want to help and you want to contribute. There are other ways that you can give back to this useful archive by using it. And there's a wonderful tool that helps us in our Snoopy ass behavior. And in order to preserve it, we must feed it, nourish it from our information teat. That sounds disgusting. The point is we have to give it money, and if we can't give it money, we must give it sustenance. It has to have things in it. So we have to use it. We have to make sure that people understand this is a valid resource that people are constantly using, and it needs to be contributed to. And that's the important part of today, because the internet has gotten quite vast. And while API usage is still a thing, you can scrape websites, screenshots are still a thing, and web crawlers are plentiful. The internet's too fucking big, you guys. And quite frankly, it can't scrape it all. It can't take everything. It can't preserve everything. That's just so much space. So it doesn't really work as well, or I'm not going to say as well, but it doesn't preserve as much comparably to what's available online as it used to. Because, the internet used to not have so much shit all over it. And now it is full. It is very full. And it is expanding, much like the housing market. And there's not enough place for everybody. It can't take all the screenshots. It can't save everything. So sometimes we have to save for it, if that makes sense. In order to do that, we must feed the beast. And today, I'm going to show you how. Today, I'm going to show you how to save your shit on the Wayback Machine so that you can go back and reflect on your data with pride while also helping contribute to the archive. This is going to be a quick and easy video. And as we so love to do, first we're going to learn the method, then we're going to test the method, and then you will form an army of SnoopyDupa soldiers, and you will rise up and begin your stupid data purge. Okay, let's get started. First, there are some things that you need to know. The Wayback Machine does save web pages, including images and CSS, but it doesn't save outlinks. Users can access archived versions of web pages by doing multiple things. One of them is a manual way, which we're going to learn today. Or if you really want to, you can save it as a Chrome browser extension. If you don't have Chrome, you can search for a Wayback archive extension to add on to it. However, it really isn't necessary unless you're constantly wanting to preserve pages, which by all means, do your thing, honey. But if you just want to use it once in a while to preserve information that you yourself are going to need in the future, or that you think people might need to see in the future, or perhaps maybe, this is sus, let me save this here since I don't have space on my phone. Maybe you're one of those people. Maybe you are scared to lose a USB, but you also don't want to lose the information. So you can do that, and we're going to show you how. Also, before we show you exactly how to do that, I want to tell you a little more about it just to make sure that you understand there are some things that you cannot preserve, okay? The Internet Archive's Wayback Machine does not archive pages that are password protected. So that includes private social media, anything not public, only accessible by filling out a form. So if you have to enter the page by clicking through a CAPTCHA or something, it's not going to preserve that page. You have to go past the caption. Even in those instances, sometimes you still can't preserve it. So you really need to test it and see and make sure the upload is complete before it's absolutely for sure on there. It's not going to save something that is blocked by robots.txt. You cannot preserve anything that is located on a secure server, which you will know because it will tell you this is a secure server. Anything otherwise inaccessible to automated systems, anything that prohibits crawling, and it will again not preserve it. It will not complete the preservation of it, and you will know if your site falls under one of these categories. Also, if it has SSL security, anything that is illegal or nefarious or can't get certification or it isn't authenticated, that may cause some issues. So anything where the security settings, or also in some cases the authentication of the site, is not preserved or preservable, if you will, it's going to tell you. So we're going to be able to see that. And even if you put the extension in, it's going to tell you. Now, if all of this sounds like a gibbery babble, it's okay. It's going to get fun now because I'm going to show you stuff. Some of you may also want to know, does it preserve your IP address or say who the person is who uploaded this? No, it does not. It does not take any of your personal information. Your submission is 100% anonymous. So no one's going to know that you preserve the page or that someone in your state. If you're in Kentucky, it's not even going to say that. Okay. Users can access these pages who are basically open source using this. But if you have an account in Wayback Machine, you can do bulk data. So if you're somebody who really wants to preserve a ton of shit and really contribute to this bad boy, if you want to make our baby fat and healthy, then feed this data baby. Let's get this shit obese, you guys. I think we can do it. Now, if you want to know more about different ways to upload onto the Wayback Archive, you can preserve all sorts of things, PDF documents, educational documents, publications, and you can upload music, you can upload video. There's so many things you can do, and you can go to that page and do it. I'm going to link it below. It is blog.archive.org, and it's going to be the article entitled See Something, Save Something. And I'm going to link that below here so that you can go reference that if you want to see ways to preserve other data, because it's not limited to one screen page. You may also be wondering what it means by outlinks. I realize that now, and I'd like to tell you, outlinks are basically going to be links on a page that take you to another page. Let's say you see a Craigslist ad and it's just the title of the ad. By screenshotting that page, you're preserving it for yourself. By uploading that page to the Wayback Machine, you're contributing to the Internet Archive. And when you do that, it is saving that exact page as you scroll down it. It's not going to save the page after you click on that link, nor is it going to initiate a web crawl anymore. I believe at one point it did do that. It does not anymore. That is something that I've genuinely wondered, like, is this even possible? And I found out, like I said before, it will randomly web crawl. It's not something that you can really kick off unless there's a really high volume of activity or basically web traffic, or a lot of people, for example, preserving via screenshot that day. There's just different things that set off the code and affect the algorithm for how it crawls. And there's just a lot involved in that. And I will tell you that just by screenshotting and uploading, or uploading a video of or a PDF file, or by just saving the page through the way we're going to show you today, the main method, it's not going to preserve everything within that. So you're not going to be able to upload it and then go back to it later on the web archive, pull the page up, click the link, and that link still works. In order to do that, you have to click the link and then also upload that page. Click the link, also upload that page. That's why I was saying, if you want to get the bulk uploader, if you're somebody who understands how to do that, that's a really cool thing to do, especially if you're trying to preserve things like, public classifieds ads, especially if you're someone who's trying to preserve information. Like, let's say that there is somebody murdering people off Craigslist, or off of, if it were back in the day, it would have been Backpages. If there's a site that does have public posts and you want to save the links within those posts, it's going to get more complicated and complex than we're going to get into today. But if you want to, let's say, preserve a page as it was, and then keep individually uploading a couple of different web pages that you think will be helpful, that are public, and that you're going to want to look at later, this is the video for you. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'm going to minimize myself. Okay, so again, first thing that I want you to know is there are things that you cannot archive, even if you wanted to. You just can't. But the best way to be sure is to try. So I want to show you first 3 examples of what happens when you try to preserve things on the archive. The first one is going to be something that you can't preserve due to what we were talking about, there being like a specific CAPTCHA or something that you have to get through, something like, hey, are you 18 and up? That's going to be an issue on preserving a page. So if you have to get through any sort of checkpoint to get to that page, especially age confirmation, you're not going to be able to upload that. Now, if you have a situation where you're on a page that has been over preserved, for example, you're going to run into that situation, which means that a lot of people already screenshot it that day. Is it screenshotted? That doesn't sound right. It has to be screenshot. That sounds worse. Okay, anyway, this is a safe for work video. Okay. And then the third example is a successful preservation of a page. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Also, I want to tell you that if you are interested in joining the bulk upload gang, get your geek ass over here to Archive Time and join the archive team. You can be somebody who contributes en masse to the archive. And that's super cool and super nice and super fun. And they have a thing called Death Watch, which is where they keep track of all the websites that are slowly dying a sick, sad death. And that's kind of fun to me. And there's just so much to explore on here in general. You can also check out, like I said, that blog on if you see something, save something, 6 ways to save pages in the Wayback Machine. But for now, let's focus on the most common method. Also, when we go to the page, you're just going to type in web.archive.org and boom, you're there. And look at all of this vast wilderness of knowledge at your fingertips. See how cool this is? These are pages that were recently saved. You can join a subscription service that enables you to capture, manage, and search collections of digital content without any technical expertise or hosting facilities. Visit Archive It to build and browse the collections. Anyway, over here, it shows you all the different collections you can search, which we've talked about in past videos, but literally there are preserved entire archives of Trump's tweets. There are entire archives from the Stand News. There are government-related PDFs, and these are all archived under a specific set of topics. You can go end of term government from 2008, 2020. FOIAonline.gov PDFs that have been preserved is going to be your bestie. So that's cool. Sometimes my page moves like that, and I don't know why. But since it's probably not going to float all the way up to the top soon, oh, maybe it is. That's creepy as shit. Okay. I also want to point out there's a can you chip in thing up here. If you do want to donate to the RA, it goes back down. Oh my God. Look at that. I never noticed it did that before. It's kind of like on The Office when they're all watching the thing.
Oh, come on!
Yeah, I know. It's bland.
It's never gonna happen.
Dude, here's what I was thinking.
You gotta believe.
Maybe we could have some sort of riddle.
Wait for it.
Like something that you have to look for. Sort of a Where's Waldo? All right.
Some of you, oh my God, it just occurred to me how old I am. Speaking of archives, we used to have this thing that we would stare at in like middle school, and it was in BCIS class. Like you'd be sitting there learning about like computer software, and then eventually you take like computer programming classes, and you'd be sitting there bored and you weren't allowed to do anything like surf the web. Everything was very restricted to just typing. And there would be whenever the display on your screen goes into like sleep mode, there would be a little thing bouncing around like this, and it would just do this on the screen, a screensaver. And there was one with pipes. I'll post it here because I feel like I can probably find video of that for sure. But it was like part of Windows 95, Windows 98. If you're not that old, hi, welcome. I'm old as fuck. But we used to sit there and watch the little thing bounce. And when it touched the corner, it was like, oh my God, it felt so good. Hey, why did it stop bouncing? Oh, there it goes again. Oh, maybe it's activated by my touch. Wow. Cool. Okay, I'm going to make myself disappear so you can see the page, and I'm going to explain a little more of what's to my left. Okay, so right there, you're going to see there's the Wayback Machine Availability API. That's fun. If you want a Firefox extension, a Safari extension, an Edge add-on, a Chrome extension, iOS app, Android app, this can be on your phone. This can be on your computer. All of these extensions allow you to enable basically the Wayback Machine at your fingertips. So you just click a button and auto save things to it, which is so sick.
Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
Now, if you don't want to add an extension, that's where this part comes in. I want to show you a couple of different ways to try and preserve this stuff. Sometimes you're going to run into snafus. For an example, I want to show you. So this is Sustenet's user page from Reddit. Now, if you don't know who that is that dirty bird pervert, Stephen Stearns from Florida, who was recently accused and charged with a lot of counts of naughtiness and SASAM, but also murder against his girlfriend, Jen Soto's daughter in Florida. And allegedly, for the sake of he did it. Okay, so anyway, here is his Reddit page. Let's say, for the sake of being a super SnoopyDupa, I wanted to preserve this page on Wayback Machine. You would think all is fine, right? Because look, I'm logged out of Reddit. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm logged out. I'm just a random person going to Reddit who does not have a Reddit account as far as my computer knows. So let's go ahead and, let me get my shit together. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to click his URL, and I'm going to, for those of you who don't know, CTRL and C allows you to copy on a basic ass laptop. So I'm going to go here to the Wayback Machine, and right here where it says save page now, I'm going to put that URL in with a little CTRL-V, which is copy paste. So I'm going to copy it, CTRL-C, and then CTRL-V, paste it into here, and click save page. Now, watch what happens. See how it says that I can sign in to use extra features like save a screenshot or save in my personal web archive. That's all sign-in stuff, but we want to do this for free without signing in or not having an account. So why can't we? What does this error status mean? We're not going to go through all the error statuses, but I'll tell you right now, it is because of this simple fact. See how it says 18 right here? So in order to log into this page earlier to pull this page up, it showed me, are you 18 and up? And it's because he's got this little 18 right here, which means that there is, see that? Adult content. Oh no, spooky dookie. So it's not going to let me save that because there is something blocking it. Basically, like there is something that you have to get through, an added layer in order for it to be there. And that protection layer is age verification. If it were something like a capture or something like that, it would do the same thing. So this is what is going to pop up if it's not going to let you. But see how it says save error pages? So when you click that, it's going to save the page as an error or as something that you tried to screenshot. Here, I'll just show you because I did click that. So now it's going to show it likely with the 18 and up status, or it's going to show the error. And as we talked about in the past, they're indicated in different colors when you go back and see this on a calendar later. So if you try to go back to this page using the Wayback Machine, you have to know this URL. So let's say you put his URL in there. It's going to show you basically the error, or it's going to show you the 18 and up prompt, and it's not going to really show you his info. So yeah, now it's a waiting game.
2,000 years later.
I don't have time for this shit. I just stopped. I didn't want to wait any longer. Okay, let's look at another example, you guys. So this is a public Reddit page, right? But it is just reddit.com. Actually, here it is. This is just reddit.com. So if I want to just save the front page of reddit.com, how would I go about doing that? See how it's long and it's very big and it's the basic just reddit.com. There's no specific page to it. So this is going to be a lot of data. Let's see what happens. Here we go. Okay, so when we try to do that, it says this URL has already been captured 5 times today, which is a daily limit we have set for that resource type, i.e. big sites like Reddit. Please try again tomorrow. Email us if you want to discuss this more. I don't want to discuss this.
I won't hear it, and I won't respond to it.
Now, what I did instead was I went to a specific subreddit, and then I went and clicked on a random post. It was DIY, so it's safe for work. It's not restricted by 18 and up. I don't have to log in to see it. It's just a very basic page, and it's got comments on it. So it's not like an entire huge front page of Reddit, which goes on forever. So there's not a lot to preserve here except one post. So let's try that and see if it works. We're going to start by going back to the main page. Then we're going to click save. There we go. Sometimes if in your cache or if you tried to upload something previously, you have to click it twice, by the way. The point is the Internet Archive. It has preserved this page, and this is what it looks like when it does that. See how there's no issues? See how it says a snapshot was captured? It even lets me go visit the page. And then down here, it shows everything else. And this is all the nerdy shit. But these are all the elements that were downloaded that are going to be up here when you go to inspect elements in your top right-hand corner on your browser page for any web page. But right here, this is the juice. This is the important part. Now we can look at our preserved baby. Do you hear my dog snoring? Oh my God, how cute and loud. And right under mommy. Nice. He's allowed to do that because he's a little demon angel. Oh, by the way, if you want to donate to my dog's treat fund instead of the future of the internet, here's how to do that. Look at this data that is now available for everybody in the future to go back and gaze upon. See how it says May 24th, 2024? Check that bad boy out. It even has the exact time that I did it. And now look. And see, it doesn't save my IP. It doesn't save anything like that. Yeah, that looks pretty terrible.
There were some complications.
Complications? What complications?
Well, there was some confusion.
However, yeah, there's our baby. We saved that.
I look at my newborn and say, damn, that's an ugly baby. Damn, that's an ugly ass baby.
And that's all good and fun. And I'm sure if we check back tomorrow, the whole thing will be there. You're not going to be able to go to a link within it in order to do that. Like, for example, the person who, Dr. Strange pork, if we wanted to click on, let's say, their user profile, which we're not going to do, but if we were to click on that and save it and it were public, that's something that we could do to further preserve. Like if we wanted to go, oh, who's posted this? Now we're going to see the person's name inside the preserved post. However, if you want to save their profile, you would have to go click on it, hope that it's public and not 18 like Stefan's was, and then you would just do the same thing. Now, if you wanted to, let's say, click on right here, 14 more replies, you would want to do that so that you can save a copy of everything that they said. Without clicking 4 more replies, you're not going to get the additional replies. So what I recommend doing if you're saving a subreddit post is click through all the replies so that it preserves them, so that you don't have to go in there and just see that there was a reply and not see exactly what it was. Now, how is this useful at all to true crime? Unfortunately, it has the 18 and up thing on there. But when people like this guy exist and you want to go back and look at anything that maybe a victim or a suspect posted on a public page, this is a good way to preserve that data. Let's say you're wanting to save this, but it's 18 and up. That's where screenshots come in. And that's when you want to get an account. And there are different kinds of accounts on the Wayback Machine. They try to their best to make like everything free. So I don't see why it would be too hard to, go start one. I highly recommend it if you want to be bulk saving or even saving more than a couple of times some screenshots that perhaps have either already been saved that day or behind a specific type of wall like this, or something just for your personal collection, just like you can with like newspapers.com. So that's fun and exciting. And that's how you preserve a page. Okay, let's do one more. So let's take this article from The Stranger, which is free and public. And it is a newspaper out of Seattle that I love. And let's save it.
2,000 years later.
This is going to probably take forever, but I will report back in my next video and show you how this went. But basically, this is how you contribute. You could just go through and do this all the time. Just go click on something. And let's say you wanted to preserve this link to Puget Sound Business Journal. You would have to literally go click it. And now you can save this page, which is separate. Okay, folks, that was it. That was how you preserve stuff on the Internet Archive. And it's totally free and you can do it all the time. And yeah, happy snooping, happy sleuthing, happy preserving. And make sure that you go donate to them or donate to my dog because he's fat. He needs to go to the vet. He needs treats. And also, you can buy me a coffee now. So do that too. I love coffee. It keeps me alive. It keeps me awake. And I'm so excited because the next video coming out for you is how to use a sneaky, sneaky tool when it comes to cold cases. And I'm going to be making a series of little vignettes that have to do with the Karen Reed case. So be on the lookout for that. I've just been seeing some patterns, if you will, because you know I love the patterns with one of my favorite TV shows. And in the most respectful way, I am going to diss on the McCabe's and the Alberts with this series of vignettes. So be on the lookout for that. And I'm going to be on Dutiful Ron's channel, Duty Ron's channel. Don't forget that. That's coming up. And thank you so much. I know this video wasn't as long as usual. I know it was a little more technical and not really criminal related, but we got to have some friendly material sometimes that gives you knowledge, and knowledge is power. And anyway, thank you so much. I'm Oblivious Benson, and I hope you learned something today. And if you have any questions or comments, or you want to give me your Frasier manifestos, send those to obliviousbenson@gmail.com. God bless. Good night.